So like many guys out there in their late 20s, I've been experiencing male pattern hair loss for a while now. And after trying out a comprehensive list of methods to try to save the hair, I decided to take the step to shave it all off last week to get a look that isn't as traditionally accepted here in Asia, especially in my native Singapore, where being botak or being bald has its connotations. I talked about that in my previous video, but today's video is really about what it was like being bald for 1 week as an Asian, what I actually found, and what lessons I learned from this whole experience. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel and back to another video. Before I start going into the meat of it all, let me talk a bit about what actually happened over the course of the week. What I went with was a 0 with a 1 fade, so that when it grows out, or when the hair grows out, it doesn't stick out sideways too much like Asian hair typically does, instead of a 0 all around, because if we were to just wait for like 1 or 2 weeks, you just end up looking kind of like a microphone on the top. So that's why I decided to go with a 0 and 1, or rather a taper with slightly longer hair on the top. Probably not going to keep the top any longer than a 2, because any longer than that and the thinning becomes kind of obvious. That is one aspect that I found to be pretty surprising. It's actually more high maintenance than you think. So the other thing that I've gone ahead and done is to try to grow this out. In a regard, it has been only a week and a half. Right now, it's in this kind of awkward stage. Time will tell whether that actually works out. If not, probably just going to go with a 0 down here for that stubble look. I actually bought this guy over here to do some spot maintenance, so I don't need to go to a barber every single week. So jumping right into the content itself, the first thing that I learned about going bald as an Asian in my 20s is that really, outside of the things where your looks matter most, such as say online dating, shaving it all off actually has a minimal impact, especially if you're working in fields like finance, where it is pretty common, and in fact even a meme for investment bankers to go bald at some stage. Personally, I work in finance, and when I walked into the office, the only comments I had were actually positive, which was quite surprising. You know, I have prepared all these jokes to bring out, and yeah, I used 1 or 2 when people asked me why I decided to go ahead with that. But most people seemed pretty receptive, and some even said, you know, this new facial hair kind of look actually suits me better than just trying to conceal the thinning hair on top with Toppik for those closer colleagues that I actually told about. So that was the whole workplace reaction. After the first day, I realized that no one really cares too much about it. And on top of that, I got the added bonus of, you know, not having to feel like I'm hiding anything, not having to feel like I need to be conscious of the fact that, you know, there might be thinning on top, the Toppik might come off at some point. And really, it was quite liberating in that sense. It's just a lot less maintenance and a lot less worrying about maintenance. So this is a point that I will return to at the end of this video, because I feel like this is a really important point to make, especially if you are experiencing male pattern hair loss in your 20s or even 30s as an Asian male. So work-wise, no issue at all. Now, whether or not this might change if you say put on some weight, maybe get out of shape, that remains to be seen, but I don't intend to go there. So fortunately, that's not something we're going to be able to experiment with on this channel. The second thing that I realized after having a buzz cut for a week was that from a friend reaction standpoint, some people might actually find it more suitable for you. I've actually shown it to 2 of my friends so far, 1 female and 1 male. You know, one of them actually told me that paired with the glasses, I look like a VP now, which I guess can be kind of a backhanded compliment, which I see as really a neutral thing. After all, if I look the part for the job that I want, then that could be a good thing rather than a bad thing. Some people just prefer the more mature look. And as for my other friend, he actually said that if you have thinning hair, then shaving it off, or at least going for some sort of buzz look, actually comes across as more intentional rather than trying to cover something up, allowing you to signal to others that you're more secure in yourself. Now, apart from the friend reactions, I haven't actually tried going to things like meetups or even trying to date, apart from an odd pickleball match. But I will be doing this very soon and covering my thoughts on this channel, whether or not going for a buzz look versus thinning hair actually harms your results. So stay tuned for that. But I do suspect though that yes, while a full head of hair is generally more accepted and seen as more attractive by the broad population, the problem of hair loss is probably 60% all inside your head rather than on it. So that brings me on to the key learning of the day, which was the fact that I realized it was never really about hair itself, but rather it was more about shame and potential rejection, fear of not being approved of if we didn't have this crowning glory, so to speak. So that's all I have to say just 1 week into this whole journey. I'm going to be going for a few more mixers and meetups just to try my luck so that I can report back to you guys with how this is generally seen in Asia, not just in Singapore. I'm actually going to Bangkok in a while, so we'll try it out there as well. What do you think? do leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you like this kind of content where we address issues that are not so often talked about, especially for young men in Asia in today's day and age, then do make sure to subscribe to this channel, because we'll be coming out with a lot more content, not just about the hair loss. With all that being said, that is all for me for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.